I was 14, and I think, of course, I feel like a lot of people say that, but it's the takeoff. You feel the thrill of the gravity and force, and air is just out of this world feeling. Just to be controlling this aircraft and flying with it and just seeing life at a whole different perspective, hundreds, thousands of feet high, and that was amazing. So I was training to be a pilot, and I actually only had one milestone left. So what I did is I flew out of Thermal to Palm Springs, doing a solo flight, for this license.
I stay in Thermal because that's where I drop her off with her instructor, and then she flies and comes back and we go home.
You're supposed to do, 3 full stop landings, communicating with the tower.
I started hearing on the radio certain communications indicating that something wasn't quite right.
I only remember taking off from the plane falling, and a couple thoughts that went through my head was, oh God, please help me not hit the ATC tower, because that could mean casualties, and I was quite close to hitting that. And this could be it.
Soon after that, I received a call from her instructor.
My mom had to make the decision to either make it back to the airport or to make it back to the nearest hospital, which was Desert Regional.
By the time I got to Palm Springs, they had shut the airport down.
She was running through her head, what if I missed her last moments?
I really didn't know if she was dead or alive.
It took 31 minutes for them to extricate me out of the plane, which is insane. Usually for a car crash, it takes them about 5 minutes to get somebody out. It took 31 minutes.
And they said they had to make a decision on whether or not they were going to have to amputate her ankle to rescue her from the plane.
Because if they cut something wrong here, it could have really hurt me because of how trapped I was in the plane.
By this point, it's been, a 40-minute drive from Thermal to Palm Springs. I'm going to take my chances that she's been transported already.
Thankfully, I made it, and I was at Desert Regional.
If this trauma center wasn't literally 5 minutes away from the airport, I'm not quite sure what had happened to her. When I arrived to the ER, I was able to go back and see her. I really didn't know the extent of her injuries.
I broke both my legs and everywhere.
Abrasions all over. It took quite a while for the nurses to clean her up to be able to admit her into the ICU. Her face was completely sunken. So she would need, everything was smashed. And so she would need a facial reconstruction.
So I remember waking up in the ICU, and I was on a ventilator, so I had a trach in my neck, and so I couldn't speak. I couldn't see because my eyes were sewn shut from my facial reconstruction surgery. I remember the first thing that actually came to my mind was, I'm alive, I survived a plane crash. It was the trauma team within the first 24 hours trying to make the decision on when she could be transported to Loma Linda, because they want to send her to a pediatric facility. So I just thought, oh wow, we're in the middle of the holidays, we're in the middle of COVID, I don't want to be farther away from home. And I didn't know that they were able to make those kinds of exceptions, but I'm very thankful that they did, because we did have exceptional care. We had the best specialists. And also because Elizabeth was able to remain here as a pediatric case, she was treated like a little princess. They did extra to come see me, to take care of me, to be gentle, to ask how I was doing. And so they had this tender heart, this extra compassion toward her that was above and beyond what they even know existed within themselves for somebody else.
You know, there was some hard times where I was wondering if it was worth it. You know, was I better just not being here? Was I too broken to recover? But I had to really believe and hope and pray that this would get better. They were just always telling me I was so strong. And I was in that bed, maybe at that time I dipped below 100 pounds and I was feeling thin and frail. I'm like, I don't think I feel strong. But they were always telling me that I was strong, that I was just, beautiful. And I was like, not sure if I feel that. But just sometimes hearing it can almost like, should I believe it? So people would remind me, and that made a huge difference. There was one nurse practitioner.
Poonam came in after her 10-plus hour shift, after her X number of straight days during COVID, commuting back and forth from Rancho Cucamonga.
She would come in and play chess with me after her long day.
Oh, that somebody would care that much during that time was just so touching. And she's just one of many that we were blessed to get to meet and know. Being all together during COVID, during that hard time, I saw how stretched and how weary and how burdened these nurses were because they were tired, but they still cared and they still came to work every day, and they worked the extra days and the extra hours, and they cared for her and they cared for me above and beyond.
I am very thankful for Dr. Echo and those who worked on the plastic surgery part of my face. The number one thing is function, that I could, my jaw, so I can eat, so I can breathe, so I can see. They fix so much, but at the same time, he really put the effort into the plastic. And I'm really thankful for that, because I do look quite similar to how I looked before. And you never think that matters until it does. So yes, this says never give up, and my nurse practitioner gave it to me right when I was about to go to rehab, because I was really, it's the nervous next step to be trying to not have all the care and support that I had at this hospital and trying to do it on my own at rehab. And so she just said never give up, and I haven't. That's really special. It reminds me of her, reminds me of my time in ICU and all the kind people there. So of course I want to fly again. People ask me all the time, and the answer is yes. Before I get the plane though, I just want to be fully healed. But I switched my degree at school to engineering, and I love aviation, so I want to be part of it as much as possible, and I think I can serve that way with engineering. I just want to say thank you to all of Desert Regional for my care here. Thank you to all the nurses, and to the RTs and the speech therapy, and to the occupational therapy, and to all the doctors and surgeons who really put all and gave even more to make me get here. And I couldn't have done it without each one playing their part and making a huge difference in me living another day. So I just want to say thank you for everybody's care, and I'm grateful.